I'd like to call the Town of Porter Environmental Sustainability Commission for Tuesday, June 17th to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Tammy, can I please have roll call?
Tara Duffy,
Here.
Devin Throw,
Here.
Jenny Dimitrov, Mitch Reynolds.
Here.
Thanks, guys. We made quorum. I appreciate that. Can I have somebody give me a motion for, look at the consideration minutes? You guys all got that in your packet. Anyone looking to? Okay, Jenny?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Audience participation, seeing nobody. We're done with that. Old business, environmental lighting recommendations. Did everybody get that in? I know Tammy was on vacation, so I sent that to everybody last week. Did everyone get the? There are 4 points that I'd like to make, but other than that, I'm hoping for a brief discussion and then we can kind of move on with that. Before I talk, does anyone else want to say anything, or?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was
everyone-
really good.
Everyone got Rob's last minute email that he sent, I think this morning or last night?
Great. Thanks for responding. Oh wait, no.
The one prior to that, he was talking about a few things. I just wanted to go over that.
Oh yes. Okay. I see it now.
So I didn't have a chance to correct those, so he said that he wanted to scratch the word security and just say lighting, so that includes decorative lighting. But I don't know how you guys felt about that. I said we can definitely bring that up for discussion. I am happy keeping it security because I don't think decorative lighting includes those garden balls, a lamp, things like that.
Right, not too bright.
Yeah, I don't think our intention is to.
Yeah, regulate everything.
How did you feel? Is that okay just to say security lighting? Or we can just scratch it. It's okay, they're just recommendations, so we'll see the final draft as well and comment.
If all of this is just recommendations, I would actually err on the side of being more, not really strict. Strict's not the word, because again, they're just recommendations, but
We can also add in decorative lighting when we talk about festoon string lighting. And you can add the lumen that you want, or you can say decorative light. But yeah, if you want to scratch that word, we can do that as well. I'm not opposed to it, I just kind of thought it wasn't needed.
Or leave it as is and send in Robert's suggestions and let council decide.
Okay. Just include
Whoever's
his,
right.
thank you.
yeah, I think that's fair. Leave it to council.
Include Rob Albrecht Mallinger's email. Okay, great suggestion, thank you, Jenny. He also wanted this scratched for number 2, the brightness limits. It says anything over this requires a permit. I'm happy with scratching that because I didn't think it was a suggestion that would fly anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 4 was actually mine. I just wanted to scratch this. I have a question in here. Are there any businesses in Porter that need to modify or remove non-compliant rooftop fixtures? That was a question for everybody. That doesn't belong in the recommendations. I'd just like to scratch that. I did take a tour at night. I did not see anything. I don't know if you guys noticed anything in your neighborhoods.
I have some bright white blue lights that are left on all day and all night.
That is covered. Okay. And then the other 2 things he had talked about this is his second email. And thank you to everybody that emails and that comes to these meetings. I really feel that is one of the utilities of this board, is so we can listen to what people want. But he did, the teeth of it, what he wanted to say was the nuance lighting, or nuisance lighting, sorry. just when we talk about this, there's no one that's grandfathered in. So if you do have those kind of things that you just mentioned that are just on all day, that's not grandfathered in. It should be changed. So that was Rob's suggestion. He also said that people are allowed to take private action. That was kind of his most spicy suggestion. And I added that in. I thought that was fine.
Could you explain a little bit more what that means?
Just the town has limits on what they can do and who they even hire. And we've had a hard time even getting somebody out to look at these lightings, and it's just really, he only works 20 hours a week to do that kind of stuff, and then it's just really our building commissioner that does a lot of that. So if people needed to take private action and the town doesn't have the capacity to move in a way that makes sense, they're allowed to say, they're allowed to do that. And again, this is just a suggestion or a recommendation. It doesn't mean that it's going to automatically go in, but I think it's a fine recommendation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But just from the standpoint of the capacity of our town, it's just sometimes we can't.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with that.
Yeah. And then the other thing you mentioned too is designating a sensitive ecological area. And I had this in the back. I said that we should start doing a Lights Out for Birds program during migration seasons. I know Rob talks about the lakefront a lot as a bird flyaway. Those programs are never necessarily like around the lake. The flyaway, and it's for songbirds. When you keep your lights on, they fly at night, so they fly through the windows, and then they die. And it's a huge.
They fly into the light. They're attracted to that light.
Yeah, that's how they navigate at night. So it's always songbirds, and they say Chicago is like the #1 in the Mississippi fly zone. So they come from Mississippi up. There's like a huge area. Audubon is really good about tracking those birds. It's so cool to watch how scientific they have. So they'll tell you like the exact time and hour that they're heading, like just like a train. I think it's fine if we promote that and then tell people. I don't think it needs to happen at the lakefront. I mean, I have them at my house. They fly into windows. I don't think the lakefront needs to be, in terms of lighting, that's, as the bird flies, it doesn't really care about it does care about the lakefront, but it's flying through. So they have them in Indianapolis, they have them in Austin, Texas. There's all these huge programs that work with Audubon. And I think that applies to the whole town.
I do too.
I don't know if you guys have problems with birds flying into your windows.
I've never had that issue.
Maybe you're a better steward of the environment. Shut your light off.
I keep my lights out too.
Yeah, I think
It does always happen in the spring and in the fall, so, okay, so that last recommendation is that we will have, that's gonna be non-binding, it won't be in there, but I just said at the end of it, we'll promote this during bird migration, it's just a voluntary recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's for the whole town. Although, if they wanna do a special ecological area, because that is the national park, they can do that, and they can have different lighting, I just don't know what they would put. Okay, the last thing I would recommend is I've got some pictures with all this type of lighting, because I don't know if you guys went through and like looked at Menards and understood what 3000 K meant in terms of, did you guys do that? I did that.
Like the different shades of the lights and the different light levels and
Yeah, that was like a whole education for me, so it talks about how narrow the light beam has to be.
yeah.
I think
Dark
it's,
Skies had a commercial part of their website that showed appropriate lighting too.
okay. I would like to include those. Not necessarily Dark Skies, because this is going to Michael Berry, so he gave us Dark Skies, but there was another one in Chicago about the birds and how important that narrow beam of lighting and the covers are. And I thought it was cool because it talks about light trespass, about it going huge, and then the colors and how it needs to go just like this. And if you're illuminating something in your yard, it talks about just having a beam on that architectural feature, but not like on your neighbor's house.
Right.
And it talks. So I'll include pictures, I'll include the email from Rob, I'll strike the 2 sentences that we talked about, but everything else was okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking for a motion then I guess the motion would be to have me send this to Michael Berry, because he's the one that asked for it.
I will make a motion to submit this to Michael Berry.
Could you name who's submitting it?
Tara Duffy.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any further questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great, motion passed. Thanks, guys. That is done. And then Devin, you're up. Do you want to talk about your presentation?
Oh yeah, yes. Okay, so well, wasn't the best organized presentation in the world, but kind of got the point across, right?
We also got in the Chicago Tribune.
Yeah, Chicago Tribune. There's a gentleman that interviewed me. That was a pretty awesome experience because actually, like, my mom just bought a townhome on Saddleback, which is right on, like, the neighborhood's right on Waverly, and so we're moving in 13 days. So it's nice because like that house is right outside Waverly and that whole area, so we have to check the house out again. And anyway, besides the point, yeah, it was a pretty awesome little opportunity. There's a lot of people that came and talked with me and Tara after. But yeah, I mean,
I thought more than a lot of people said something. Devin really makes the whole commission look really good. They were really impressed with our work and that someone would take the time, I think, to count over, what is it, like 1,500 pieces of garbage?
1778, 1,778 pieces.
And everybody like recoiled when you talked about your hazardous
Yeah, there's a gentleman
material
over
picked
here.
up.
He's
In the
super
future,
awesome.
we will talk about what to do. I'll have a general safety speech, as we do things. Each time we'll get a little bit better. So next time we'll talk about how to handle hazardous materials. I didn't pick up any hazardous materials, did you?
I don't remember any. No.
No drugs
If you
in
don't
there?
mind me asking, you don't have to answer this. If you don't want, what sort of hazardous materials were found?
Okay, so we have like bottles of urine. There were 3
Oh
of
my
those,
God.
and then there was an active mousetrap. It scared me when it went off. I also considered things like I had a separate section, so I also had like there was like hazardous materials, like more chemical things, there's mechanical things, and there's also like hazardous in the form of like impairment. So we've had like cigarettes I did count, and then we also have bottles of alcohol, this could be glass, aluminum, whatnot. I guess rolls, weed. Also, we went to the.
Oh, I did find that.
Yeah. The rolls. We went to. I don't know what the brand is called or whatever, but we went to the hazardous disposal because I know there's like all kinds of chemicals and stuff. So we went to the hazardous disposal. Me and my mom, and was it June 6th at the high school or something? And then this guy's like, "Hey, you want your whatever these are called, the rolls?" And it was super embarrassing. My mom like cringed because like the guy was like, "Hey, you want your rolls back?" And she's like, it was funny.
I think the other thing is Michael Berry wanted us to do that again. He's like, why just once a year?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Couple
oh,
times. Why not?
because that's a lot of work. That's why once a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it because I mean, the grand scheme of it. I mean, setting it up is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but not really. Then just having people come out and do it for the 2 hours is the hard part, and then the rest of it, I don't care. It was interesting.
You
It
don't
was,
have to count it.
no, trust me. I enjoyed that. It was actually an interesting activity to say the least. So
Would we consider doing it maybe in the fall? Because I'm like, it's so
Yeah.
hot out. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I will say the Duneland Democrats is doing another event in July,
July.
because a number of people that like had said that they were interested in going ended up not going to this last one because it was quite the weather wasn't particularly great,
Oh, yeah.
and so we figured that we would do our own in July.
Okay. And we are considering doing another one.
I love.
It looks through like consensus that we.
What is the one bag challenge?
Well, let's talk about our other options, because that was the thing that I brought up. My objection was I was like, man, I'm really burning out my volunteers. We have a small group of people.
Right.
But they did talk about Adopt a Road, which is where we would just set up roads for people to adopt and give them recognition on the website. So, maybe the bank, Porter Bank would want to adopt part of Waverly. And so that would be the road. They wouldn't get signs, but they would, so then that way you can kind of disperse your workload.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that idea instead of us, I mean, one or two, but he was like, why don't you do it every quarter? And I'm like, no, because that's just too much. It'll burn everybody out,
Plus the
but.
trash accumulation isn't that, it's not that.
It still looks good on
Rapid.
Waverly.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And so we'll talk about it in the fall, and then next Earth Day. I thought it was a great Earth Day event. Adopt a road, and then the one bag challenge. Do you remember what?
Yeah, yeah. So the one bag challenge can have many forms, but just like having people, well, one, try to minimize waste. Be conscientious of the things that you're buying and consuming, and then also at the same time simultaneously getting your bag, and then you can do multiple things with it. I mean, counting it would be nice, collecting the data, and we can put all the data on the website with all the participants, and then even going further and organizing the things. I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to make sure you're recycling right, but make sure you're organizing things. Like we've got like aluminum or like metals here, and we've got like the recyclable plastics, and then we've got maybe even compost. I don't know, there's a compost thing right down the road. And then make sure you're taking the labels off the plastic water bottles because they're not always recyclable labels. Because then they just
So you would teach people how to do that during the challenge?
yeah, I could just make a video or something because I have one of my friends. She's going to Northwestern and she's got she's working on her marketing, a major in marketing. Oh my goodness. I can work with her to make a video about awareness and how to do the one bag challenge, I guess, and hopefully it picks up. I really hope that would pick up. But,
The only thing we don't have any social media as of now. I did talk to
yeah.
Laura Madigan briefly about it, and she told me to talk to Corinne.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to talk to you guys first if that's something that we wanted to do, because if you're doing the one bag challenge, I don't understand how else you would do it. I mean, there's flyers around town. How would you do it?
No, social media is definitely the way to go for that.
Yeah.
On Instagram,
Could we do a
LinkedIn, everywhere.
Facebook page where they can't comment? Just, they can like it or send it, share it, and that's it.
Or approved comments.
So we don't have to
well,
be
that's
constantly monitoring it.
censorship, kind of.
I don't mind the monitoring. I feel like maybe that kind of draws engagement.
I
But
know David was against a website, or.
he was against doing it himself. I have heard there's some comments that are sometimes not, I don't want to, maybe racist in nature or something like that, so that people don't
Yeah.
necessarily like dealing with that. But yeah, if you guys want to do, I guess this month, if you guys would like to start a page
Yeah.
through Consensus, is just Facebook, or are we thinking TikTok, or?
I mean, a TikTok page is really engaging for people my age, and we just started one on a Dog Days account. We've already gotten multiple videos that have gotten over 100,000 views, and we started it 2 weeks ago. We have 3 videos already. I mean, we have 2,000 followers. We're close to making money for our, our store, Marty. So, couldn't hurt. I mean, most of the people are, nationwide, and there's even people on an international scale that see the video, but it couldn't hurt to get other people from around the country to do the one bag challenge. It doesn't just have to be Porter, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Because then we can see, our contributions. What have we done? Okay, what kind of activity have we set up as a commission that has made an impact? And it could be, again, like a national impact. It could be an international impact, even maybe, I don't know. But just wide scale impact, I guess, is something that's nice to see. It doesn't just have to be small.
So
local.
Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Are there other things? I'm sure there are.
There are, but I would avoid anything like X or
Social or something.
Yeah.
no.
X is
I just
weird.
don't know. If
Blue Sky, anybody do that?
we,
I think Blue Sky would be fine, but
but maybe not, since it's
Nobody's
unless
on it.
you.
It's kind of like MySpace.
I don't think anybody is on MySpace
I
anymore.
don't think I've ever used MySpace, but I don't know how that. I mean,
That's what my 40-year-old niece
No,
and
I'm not
nephew
on it, but I think my phone is
I will throw in that Facebook also gives the abilities to make events,
Yeah.
which would allow us to get more public reach, I feel.
good point. That's a good point.
Okay, so
You start with Facebook.
well, I like TikTok too.
Yeah.
I like TikTok.
Well, because I mean that's a really easy way to get people to at least see it and have something on their mind about being conscious. Even if it's just like, oh, I saw a video just now about someone talking about recycling, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna dig through my garbage real quick and take a couple things out, or I'm gonna pick something off the ground and litter. I don't know, something. That's kind of how I think sometimes. I see a video and I'll be like, okay, let me go out of my way to do something nice for nature. So maybe at the bare minimum, we don't really know if it happens.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this, it's a consensus from the board, from the commission that we'd like to go through social media. I will double check with Corinne, as I was told to do, and then we'll talk about it. If you want to meet, in the meantime, until the July meeting, we
Yeah.
could work on setting that up and like what it looks like, and then show the commission maybe, and then go live.
Yeah.
So I have Facebook, TikTok. Did we say Instagram, or we said no to Instagram? I feel like it's
there's
the
a
same.
way to integrate Facebook with Instagram,
It's
so
the
where
same,
it's
yeah.
like
Metal thing.
automatically posts anything from Facebook to Instagram, so that would just sort of be like an
The same.
automatic integration kind of deal.
Right. I guess I will say I don't know. There's definitely grouchy people on Instagram too, but I guess there's a lot of
Yeah.
grouchy people everywhere: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok.
I think it's possible to turn off comments, though. I would look into
So are we
that.
thinking no comments?
Well,
But at this, what if we just have not filtered comments, but we have to approve them, manually approve them.
that would be like, I believe that's only Facebook groups have that ability. I don't know if Facebook pages do, but we
Okay.
can.
Or we can censor out
There's-
specific words too, but we have to
Wouldn't
type
a group-
each
Wouldn't be
word.
considered a group.
Well, a group would be like you invite members to it.
Can you do a
Yeah.
public group and only members can comment?
Yes, you can, but you still have to. I don't know. Yeah, a public group would be fine, but basically, from my understanding, is that it being that anybody can join it. I don't know. I think that would probably be fine. Just that extra layer of having to go out of your way to be a
Right.
part of that.
Right.
I feel like sort of, for the most part, removes negative actors
Right.
because that's a little bit of extra effort just to be a troll.
Yeah.
But I feel like if problems come up, you can change it from public to private.
Right.
So if anything happens, we have that sort of response.
Yeah. And at the bare minimum, we could just delete the comment.
That's true as well. Yeah,
like,
you
and
could
it
just
sucks to see
yeah,
that,
exactly.
That's what it is, But I will say though, TikTok, there's there's a lot of people on TikTok that like to say things and
Okay,
it's
so
all
I have
good.
maybe a group invite. In some capacity, we'll be limiting comments. And then I have the objectives are, we want to hold events, and that's a good outreach for community outreach.
Yeah.
Engagement, we want the viral bag challenge, it'll be great for the community. And then, we didn't talk about this, but I also like quantifying the data, because when we talk about one of the objectives for the gardens is to have more people do gardens.
Right.
So I think that would be one way to say how many gardens are in town of Porter and how many are growing, what's the trajectory of that project.
Yeah.
And then there's also things that I talked to Jenny about, this week is Pollinator Week. And so it's a citizen science week, is that kind of what that is?
I haven't really looked into it.
I think
I did take the pollinator partner course and passed it last year, but
it's a lot. You take a lot of courses.
yeah.
You took 4 courses, I think, last year that I didn't even know of. You probably would have took more.
No, that was it.
So yeah, I think anyway, they count. I think it would be a really good way if we were gonna have a festival, which is something we talked about at the comprehensive plan when we interviewed the now retired superintendent of the national parks. He said, the one thing that the town can do to support the parks are things like festivals. They just don't have the capacity to do that. It's just not in their wheelhouse. The town can do things like that, but in terms of our group, I feel like, I don't know if we're going to do a pollinator festival, but maybe something like Celebration of Pollinator Week, or we kind of acknowledge and have a event for Earth Day.
Yeah.
So that, in that way, I think it's good. So those are the objectives. Are there any other reasons to have a Facebook page that I should talk to Corinne about?
just general like meeting information. We could, put meeting the minutes, and we can talk about, the things that we're gonna be talking about, and if anybody has ideas because they can't be present, we could have like an open discussion board. Not open, but I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Just like membership, like to
Yeah.
get more members.
Right.
And more volunteers. Okay.
A Q&A board, I guess, not really a discussion board. There's a lot of arguments in there.
And Devin, is this all you?
Yeah. I don't want to put that on you guys' shoulders. I kid you not. It takes me.
We need to talk about long-term though, because you're only here for another year.
I mean, I can still help out.
That's where I think that Jasper would come in handy. That AI that
I
does all
think
the.
so. I don't know. I just hate the AI reliance thing. Like because it'd be representing us, and if it did something, I guess conventionally wrong, then it would put a bad image on us.
I think you get to preview all your content before it publishes.
So what kind of? I guess, how would Jasper work? How would it?
Well, I'm feeding it information right now. So it trains on your town and what you're doing, and then it learns, and then it helps you create creative posts
Okay, so
and content. It just does all the content for you. Yeah, it does like videos. It does that kind of stuff. But it should use your voice. So I think I'm just having a hard time. We've only been around for a year, so we don't have that much content ourselves like to feed it. But yeah, I started that, and then last week, and then I just need to pick up and kind of learn a little bit more about it. But it's supposed to create all your content for you, or just be a little bit more engaging. And then it also quantifies like how many people said yes, what was this negative response, and it kind of does.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking sustainable in terms of like you're here for a year. Is that
Right.
just something we pass on to the high school kids?
Right.
That are
Well,
on?
because it's certainly not difficult. It's to make a post, it definitely takes some time because we made a post at again Dog Days, and it took us 2 hours because people kept coming in. But if I guess making the post is hard, but if it's not too difficult. If it's I don't know, because there's things I'm just gonna continue sharing my trail of unorganized information in my head right now, but there's even kids that do picking up trash per followers type of thing, and those usually pick up because people want to feel like they're doing something, so they like the post, then the person picks up a piece of trash for them. So even if we had that as like a running thing, that's definitely easy to do, to at least build traction on the account, and then that could keep it engaging enough to where it's maintaining the speed and development of the account, I guess. Because if we only post like once a month or twice a month, 3 times a month, then it's not gonna no one's ever really gonna see it on TikTok at least. We would have to
I'm
do.
just trying not to make it a job,
Yeah.
But I feel like it might be.
Yeah,
We can
but
talk-
I'm not trust me, I'm not.
I know it's not that you're not, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking like next year. I don't know if Mitch wants to sign up for that job.
I don't.
Yeah, I do see
Sorry.
a problem though, because I know the people in the future probably aren't gonna want to do it. So
Yeah, we have the high school kid on.
yeah,
We have a workaholic, so I don't expect that from all of our volunteers. But
But
okay.
even if we just start it for now, and if anything does come from it, then maybe it could be motivating for another student to do it. At least I don't know, they can.
Yeah, we don't know what the future holds.
And if it doesn't end up working out, then we can just scrap it. TikTok
Yeah.
at least.
It's not the Hope Diamond. That's what I always say.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
scrap it. It's
Just
okay.
scrap the idea and
Plant
just.
grass.
I digress there. Okay, so we'll do that. To do that, what about Adopt a Road? Is that something people want to work on as well, or I guess what do you think about that, Devin?
That'd be a fun thing for NHS adopt a road. For example, that could be one of their activities that they have for students. It's like a mandatory thing for all participants of the club to be a part of, like Earth Club, and that can extend further out in the school, I don't know, Dairy Queen. There was a lot of people that I used to work at in Dairy Queen, and maybe every once in a while just having like a team development group for
Yeah, like
I don't know.
they would
Yeah,
go once a year,
yeah.
and maybe for the businesses, we were thinking about giving them like a placard for their business that says we own this road, and
Yeah.
maybe some acknowledgement on the website as well.
right,
But not signs. We thought there would be too many signs. So.
and it costs a lot. It costs a lot to make the signs, yeah.
Okay, so let's
Or build like a wall of bricks outside with their logo engraved or something. I don't know.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't
Something
have
like
to be
that.
long term. It could just be until they're done with the road or something.
All right, well, let's just keep working on this next month.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
And I'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. Any other comments for that, or keep me posted if we can help or do anything for July.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Board comments, I just want to say thank you. There's 3 agenda things that we needed to wrap up with the gardens. The thank yous went out. Corinne sent those out to our 2 sponsors. The signs are done, they're up, and the website is done and up. And thank you, Jenny, for doing that. And thank you to David, Jenny, and Devin for going back and forth when I made those signs. A little neurotic, but they were done, and I think that they came out perfect enough. I think I sent them like 7 different types of signs. Like, is this one good? What about this one? Do you like this one? What about the size?
I like the final one with the bee on it. I like.
Oh, you like the?
Yeah.
We didn't go with that one. We went with a different one. And then, and I got the coffee mug. We finally finished our cohort. What this means to the group is that there are 19 other communities around the country and the EPA that are available to us. We were the inaugural cohort. The funding for the project did get cut, so we did not get to meet in person, but I did get a mug. And I think this is us. So I will put that.
That is still really sweet, even though the funding was cut.
But it's nice. I just I sent the information to everybody over email if you want to do the LinkedIn. I don't know how well that group will. This is the inaugural. I don't know how much that group will meet or what they'll do. But anyway, it's done, and I got a mug. And then we still have the availability of the EPA resilient communities if we have any questions. And then tomorrow we have Plastic Alliance. Is that what?
Yeah.
It's the
Northwest Indiana Plastic Reduction Alliance meeting at VU.
with Dr.
Van Peller?
Yeah, Peller. Yeah, and that's all for me.
And I wanted to propose that we join the Northwest Indiana Partners for Clean Air, which is coordinated by IDEM. And it's a coalition of Indiana businesses, industries, government entities, community groups, and individuals that are committed to improving overall air quality and public health through voluntary actions in Northwest Indiana. And I have a frequently asked questions you can look at, and membership levels. And I'm suggesting we do green because we don't have to pay any money and we only have to do one thing.
What's the one thing? Oh, just it's a.
We have to, they will send us air quality warnings, and that we have to get that information out with the website or with our Facebook page. That would be nice.
And the website. Does it have to be the town website? It's actually
No.
It's
I don't
nice
know.
actually. I think it's a really good
I don't know how
service.
often they want to make changes on that. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Facebook, we could do something.
We've got some big air quality things happening with the big dust cloud that came through and
Yeah.
the fires that came through the other day. So maybe for bigger events that they're giving notice, maybe, I don't know.
Well, I'll sign up, register, and
I think that this is a great idea. I know NERPC.
NERPC's part of it too.
Yeah, and I know in our own comprehensive plan, air quality is always been a problem. And I just never know what to do about it. It's such a big problem.
Yeah, gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I definitely know that a lot of people are concerned about it, especially with the, whenever Canada has their wildfires and the air quality goes, it's really bad around here. It's a common conversation. I think that it is something that we should probably keep in mind. And so, I think that this is part of how we can address that. I do think that it might be a good idea in the future, assuming this board gets more money and down the line, maybe we could go up in status, possibly, if
You
we
said
have
we
more
didn't look-
time available and
Up
we're
to
willing
silver,
to
you have to-
dedicate. There's a lot of things, I was reading them, there's a lot going on there, but that might be something to consider in the future. Air quality is definitely something that matters here, especially in Northwest Indiana,
And it will get our name out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
'Cause we've got like the fires all the time up here, and then we've got the highway here, we got the highway here, we got the highway here, we got the steel mill here.
Yeah.
Not a great place for hair
Yep.
quality right here. So,
And it historically hasn't been.
yeah.
I know that there's steps to improve it. Tammy, do I have to vote on that? I probably should take that to a vote, so it would have to be at the next meeting. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea, but we'll wait
Vote on
till we vote on that. Can I keep this?
Yeah.
I need that.
And I got one more thing. I have Emily Brettel, who has agreed to do a neighborhood walk for us. She is, she helped us with the Hawthorne.
Isn't she also part of Chesterton Sustainability?
She is the chair for Chesterton Sustainability Group, and she is, works for University of Chicago's field station for the environmental science students. So,
What date
She's-
were you thinking, and what, native plant walk?
yes, just go and look at all our gardens and talk to people about how they can do this at home, would be the gist of the walk.
We could advertise it on our social media.
There you go.
What date was she having, did she have in mind?
August 12th, which is, I think, our meeting date, so like 5:30 or 6, so we get done in time to have our meeting. We haven't decided yet if we're gonna walk all the way down to Augsburg. I'm thinking about throwing Nathan Pila's yard in there with his permission.
Yeah,
I'll ask
he
him
does a
if-
whole YouTube video on his yard.
Okay. I'll check it with that. And then she wants us to have a trail map. I know the one we have is not gonna be accurate, so
Well,
something that she could put on a promotion.
and I guess this isn't a vote, we've already voted on doing neighborhood walks as a group. This is just a consensus, does everybody like that date, and do they like that idea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it ends up working
Yeah.
out pretty nice, so, with the timing, so.
And then speaking of walkability, I thought this might be up your alley, if you wanted to help create the walkable map to promote that on our social media. But if you had ideas that would make sense for that, that's what we would be promoting. And I know native plants aren't necessarily your thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I think walkability is.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, that would be really cool to kind of tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could create the map with the known gardens that are here and maybe other spots that we aren't thinking, because we're thinking native plants, I think, but you're coming at it from a different
Yes,
point,
yeah.
so you could maybe include other things that are enjoyable to walk to, or safety things, or,
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
okay. And then we would get that before August 12th,
Let's say by our next meeting,
by July?
so she can get
Yeah.
a month or so to.
Yeah, that works for me.
Do you know where the gardens are? I feel like you do, three of them are right there.
Yeah, I know those ones. We had a map, didn't we? That
Yeah, I
literally
can
just
send
like
it
you
to
just
you.
yeah. You could send that to me again.
No, we
I
have
know
like
vaguely
half.
where they are.
Well, half of those spots are actually have a garden. And Yoast, we can go by Yoast to say what you shouldn't do.
Oh, well, no, I don't know about that. I thought Yost was okay. Yost and Augsburg Church are, I think, the other two big spots.
Yeah.
And then Hawthorne Park was one that's gonna likely be in the
Okay.
soon, I hope.
Yeah.
And then she did say she would do this for free, but she asked if we would consider donating to her scholarship fund for a conference she's doing with teachers.
What would you donate?
Money,
We have no money.
I know. I told her I'd bring it up. That's all. We are not
But that would just come, I would have to just give you money.
out of our own pockets, right?
Oh, well, how much does she want?
She doesn't care.
Oh,
You know, maybe to offer a discount for some that she knows are, want to come, but don't have the money, especially environmental science teachers.
oh. I don't think,
I would give her some money, you don't have, you're already out a couple hundred.
oh, not yet, not yet. Anyway, yeah, if it's only like $10, I don't mind.
Okay.
Does she require everyone to donate, or she just said whatever? Like, it was just, okay,
The conference is $350, but any
any little bit will help her.
yes.
I don't mind giving a few dollars, if that's what she wants. No
I
one's
want to
required.
stay in good graces with Chesterton and maybe partner with them more and
That would be
I think that would
private,
be-
that would be separate, I think, from ESC. ESC is not allowed to give money, we just don't have any money to give. But if she's asking for a private donation, then that's fine.
I'd be happy to throw in, like $10, $15, $20 as well, because I could be good for, that makes our relationship with them a little bit better,
Don't do it for ESC.
It's not for the ESC, but it makes your relation, I know we only have a couple months, but it still just sets the relationship up kind of,
And she's done more for me than I have.
yeah,
for her.
like you're in your personal relationships, then it gives you more opportunity. If there's something that she knows about that can enhance your career or vice versa, then it just makes it
I
better.
give money to any, person that knocks on my door and needs, like the football team. I just, Girl Scout cookies, everything. So that's okay for me. All right.
Also to the Ukrainian newspaper.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, that would be personal in nature, only because we just don't have the funds. Or if it wasn't, you'd have to ask town council, which we can do if you want to talk about that.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think historically they do those things. Anything else? Jenny, are you,
That's it for me.
motion to adjourn? Looking for a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, guys.